Well, well, well. What have we here? We got a Fate channel, and we also have a trailer. So I guess we're going to go ahead and take a look at the trailer first, because this one is more recent. I am a little bit late to all this stuff, because I just got home. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the units first, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the Fate channel in a separate video after this. So let's see what they got cooked up here. Alright, new heroes join the battle. Who is it going to be? Oh, is that Naga? It is Naga. Ooh, interesting. Wow, that's some very good art for her. So, Naga is going to be a colorless breath flyer. Once again, she's a flyer, I guess. Alright, being God means you can fly. So, stat line, we got here 37 HP. That's very low. 57 attack, 27 speed, and then 45 in defense and res. Okay. Ancient Majesty, 16 might, 1 range, effective against dragon, -1 special trigger, adaptive damage against ranged enemies, and then also at the start of player phase or enemy phase, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack and res -7, frozen, and guard on the closest foes, and any foes in 2 spaces of those foes through the next action. Okay, more ways to get frozen, which is pretty good. Frozen is a very good status effect, so having more support for that is definitely nice. And then also, at the start of combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, grants a bonus to all stats equal to the number of allies in 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit times 3 plus 5, with a max of 14. Deals damage equal to 15% of foes' attack, excluding on AoEs, and reduce percentage of foes' non-special DR by half. Okay, mainly looking like it's the support that's doing a lot of the work here. Maybe she's got a good preference passive. Alright, we have Dragon's Roar, we got Attack and Res Scowl 4, Attack and Res Near Trace 4, and then Divine God Fang. Okay, so she does have a preference. Allies in 2 spaces a unit can move to any space within 2 spaces a unit. Okay, so guidance, basically, is built in. At start of player phase or enemy phase, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants effective against dragons, neutralize effective against dragon bonuses, and empathy to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. I love how everyone is just getting empathy now. It's like Rune could not be special for 5 seconds. It's like ever since him, there's been like 3 other units that give empathy now. So nullify effective against dragon bonuses. That's interesting, but right now the best dragon is probably Duo Rhea, and she already does this. So kind of a moot point. Also, the effective against dragon, kind of a moot point, since it's not really going to work on Rhea. She already neutralizes effective against dragon. But in other matchups, I guess that could matter. There's a couple of well, not really anti-meta, but like off-meta dragons that sometimes you see use, like Halloween Nagi, for example. They're not as common, but I mean, this is just more hindering to them, I guess. And then also, if unit is in 3 spaces of an ally, grants all stats of 5 to unit. Unit deals +7 damage, excluding on AoEs. Reduce damage from foes' attacks by 7, excluding on AoEs. And then also grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack during combat. She seems a little underwhelming, honestly. Outside of the frozen support, giving effective against dragon and dragon protection ain't really all that crazy. Alright, her dragon form is pretty cool, though. Big gold dragon there. Okay, so there we go for Naga. I guess she's just like a regular hero. She's not ascended, she's not attuned, or anything like that. Okay. Alright, Apostle of Wait a second. Is that Bantu? No, it's Gotoh. Okay, it's Gotoh. This is like young Gotoh. Mystery of the yeah, this is from New Mystery. This one is not from Shadow Dragon. So Red Tome Infantry Gotoh here. He's got his dragon wings. Yamada drew this art. Yamada is always cooking, man. When he draws these artworks, he goes so crazy with the details. Alright, so Fundament. 14 might and 2 range with -1 special trigger. At start of player phase or enemy phase, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants attack and res up 6. Reduce damage from AoEs by 80%, and neutralize foes' bonuses during combat to unit and allies in 2 spaces for 1 turn. Okay, another unit with AoE protection support. At the start of combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, inflicts penalty on foes' attack and res equal to 20% of unit's res. At the start of combat, +6. Deals damage equal to 20% of res, including on AoEs. And then reduce damage from foes' attacks by 20% of res, excluding AoEs. And unit makes a guaranteed follow-up and recovers 7 HP after combat. Alright, then we got Glacy's Gift of Guidance. Grants attack, defense, and res up 10, flat. So those are going to be visible stats. At start of turn, if unit's HP is over 25%, grants special cooldown count -2 to unit and grants special cooldown count -1 to allies in 2 spaces of unit. And also, if those allies are magic or staff allies, grants an additional special cooldown count -1 to those allies. So -2 cooldown support for staff and magic types. And then at the start of combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, neutralize penalties on unit. Inflicts guard on foe per attack, and reduce percentage of foe's non-special DR by half. Okay. Attack and res havoc. Okay, we got a brand new beast skill here. At the start of player phase or enemy phase, inflicts attack and res -7, sabotage, and schism on the foes with res less than unit's res, and that are within 2 spaces of another foe through the next actions. Alright, another way to do Schism. Now, Schism is on the Ruse level 4s, but it's kind of sucky having to whiff a rally just to activate Schism, even though it's an okay effect, right? Like, it turns off dual strike and triangle attack, and I think it turns off one other thing. I think it turns off, like, warping, but I might be wrong about that. Alright, then also, after start of turn skills trigger on unit's player phase, if the number of foes with the sabotage effect active on the map are greater than or equal to 2, grants cancel 1 to unit for 1 turn, and then inflicts attack and res -4 on the foe and deals damage equal to 20% of unit's res during combat. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like, it seems like a solid B skill. The Discord split B skills were actually pretty good, because first of all, they do the debuff, and then they also give you in-combat bonuses, like dropping enemy stats and then 20% bonus damage based on res. This is basically the same thing, except doing different status effects, which is good. Also, he's got Pulse Up Ploy there. Okay, so Gotoh, let's see what your animation is. Okay, he doesn't transform into a dragon or anything, but his weapon is a big dragon. Hold on, what weapon type was he? Was he Tome? And I just, like, completely bassed my mind. Yeah, he's a red Tome infantry, but I don't know why I thought he was going to turn into a dragon there for some reason. Maybe it's the wings. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next unit here. Oh, is that Medeus? Like a young Medeus? That's kind of dope. What is this, like all of the OG, like, deities and gods back in the day when they were kids? Well, not kids, obviously. Look at this dude. He's a grown-ass man, but like younger versions of the old dragons. That's kind of interesting. That's a dope concept for a banner. Okay, so Medeus is going to be a Blue Breath infantry this time, drawn by the legendary Daisuke Izuka, the only Fey artist that I've actually met in real life. Alright, so Medeus, let's see here. Ancient Betrayal, 16 might, 1 range, grants attack up 3. If the foe's range is 2, calculates damage using lower of defense or res. At start player phase or enemy phase, if unit's HP is over 25%, grants attack and res up 6, on guard, and neutralize foes' bonuses during combat to unit and allies in 2 spaces for 1 turn. On guard could definitely use a bit of a buff right now. I mean, the way it works, it's good against, like, out-of-combat damage, like the Bolt Trap and the Bolt Tower. But those aren't really meta right now. I mean, the Bolt Trap is always going to be ran because it's just a better alternative to the Hex Trap, which you can actually beat by having good enough HP. But, like, On Guard itself, I feel like they could definitely make it a little better. Like, give it some more effects to buff it. Alright, regardless, at the start of combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, inflicts a penalty on foes' attack, defense, and res, equal to 20% of unit's res at the start of combat plus 5. Unit deals plus X damage, excluding on AoEs, and reduce damage from foes' attacks by X, excluding on AoEs. X is the number of staff and dragon allies on the map, excluding unit times 5 plus 10, with a max of 20. Wow, 20 is a lot to just be getting, like, free damage and free DR. And then also, if the foe's attack can trigger foe's special and unit's res is better than the foe's res plus 5, then you inflict Scowl on the enemy before their first attack. Okay, then he's got Glacies, defense and res Scowl 3. Wait a second, is this guy a Demote? Wow. This is everything I just said about On Guard. Take it back if he's a Demote. What the hell? And then he's got Def Res Scowl 3 for fodder, and then Attack Ploy 3. This is a pretty damn good Demote if he actually is one. Jesus Christ, dude. I love his transformation, by the way. Looking like one of those... You remember, like, back in the 80s when they had the concept art of dinosaurs, like when they first found the fossils? And they had T-Rex on, like, walking on 2 legs instead of... Well, he was, like, standing upright like Godzilla instead of, like, kind of leaning forward the way he usually does. Okay, Dragon's Progeny. We got here Baby Tiki with a little baby plushie. Well, this is even younger than Baby Tiki, right? This is, like, Toddler Tiki, because the normal Tikis that we're accustomed to are young Tiki. This is, like, even younger than that. Okay, so she is going to be a Green Breath Infantry type. Okay. What type of hero is she, by the way? Is she... Hold on. Was she attuned or ascended or, like, rearmed? Did I just, like, completely miss? Okay, she is attuned. So, you'll be able to use her as a fodder bank. Alright, Ancient Voice, 16 might, 1 range, effective against dragon, -1 special trigger, adaptive damage against range. At start of turn, if unit is in 2 spaces of an ally, grants speed and defense up 6 and bulwark, and neutralize penalties on unit during combat to unit and allies in 2 spaces for 1 turn. If unit is in 3 spaces of an ally, calculates damage using 150% of defense instead of the value of unit's attack when special triggers. What the... So she just has Sandstorm built in, not even on her special. It's like built into the weapon. What the hell? So, technically, you could use whatever special you wanted then, right? Like, wow. Okay, let's keep going here. If unit is in 3 spaces of an ally, grants a bonus to all stats equal to the number of allies in 3 spaces a unit times 3 plus 5 with a max of 14. Deals damage equal to 20% of unit's defense, excluding on AoEs. Reduce damage from foe's first attack by 20% of defense during combat, including their brave attack. And then also, if unit's defense is better than the foe's defense plus 5. Disable unit and foe skills that change priority. Wow. She has built-in hardy bearing, too. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, combine that with the Erica ring, that's really good. You don't have to give her the hardy bearing seal if she's going to be ran as an Omni-Tank. Okay, Dragon Flame, 4-hit special, boosts damage by 80% of defense and recovers 30% of max HP when special triggers. If both of the following conditions are met, reduce damage from foe's next attack by 40% during combat. Unit or foe's special is ready, or units or foe's special triggered before or during this combat, or if the foe initiates combat or unit's defense is better than foe's defense -10. That sounds inheritable. That doesn't sound like a non-inheritable special. That sounds like just a tier 4 or a 4-hit cooldown of Dragon's Roar, right? We'll take a look at the Twitter and see if they posted inheritance restrictions or anything, but that does definitely... Yeah, it is inheritable because she has a unique C skill there. Okay, distant bonus doubler, edge scales, once again. Love for all, so C skill. The icon is her little dragon plushie. So for allies in 3 spaces of unit, grants attack speed, defense, and res of 5, and grants special climb count -1 before foe's first attack. So she gets a little, like, special jump before the enemies hit her. If unit is in 3 spaces of an ally, reduce damage from AoEs by the number of allies in 3 spaces of unit times 40% with a max of 80%. Okay, she's got her own AoE protection, basically. And then if unit is in 3 spaces of an ally, grants all stats of 5 to unit, reduce damage from foe's first attack by X times 7 with a max of 14. First attack normally means first attack, but then in this case is brave attacking as well. Okay, what is X, though? And grant special climb count -X to unit before the foe's first attack during combat with a max of 3. X is the number of allies in 3 spaces of unit. Wow. Has a max of 3. So 3 times 7, that would be... Well, a max of 14 there. So you could get a max of 14 for the DR on the enemy's first attack. And then for the special jump, you've got a max of 3 there. So she insta-charges her own special there. Interesting. And then also, when unit special triggers, nullifies foe's DR effects from non-special skills. And her Echo skill is Res Scowl Echo. If the foe initiates combat or foe's HP is over 75% at the start of combat, grants res up 4 to unit during combat, and also if foe's attack can trigger foe's special, and unit's res is better than foe's res +5, inflicts Scowl on the enemies before their first attack. Okay, that's probably a dragon-exclusive Echo skill there. Wait a second. This is going on for quite some time. Hold on. Is there something else in this trailer? Like, why is the trailer still got a minute left and we're on the last unit? Alright, so here comes Tiki with Dragon Flame. I don't know why we're fighting Kvassar here. Ain't she an aged out enough unit for them to show her against somebody else? Alright, Bernie. They're showing her off against Bernie here, I'm presuming because she's got Hardy Bearing. It's like Bernie can't just, like... Well, actually, in this case, she's not quadding anyway, but... Bernadetta can quad and hit 4 in a row. So I guess so much for the Hardy Bearing effect there. Alright, and it looks like Zane is going to be our... I guess would be a GHB in this case, because this is a new hero's banner. It's going to be a blue tome unit. Interesting. Alright, Medeus is in fact the 4-star. That's pretty interesting, man. He seems pretty good for a demon. Like, this should be a regular banner, too. This is not a seasonal banner. So, to get just like a regular demote that's that good, we haven't had that happen before. Yeah, we really don't get demotes that are actually, like, good. Like, this guy, he's pretty good for a demote. I mean, I don't see any issues here. It would have been the tits if they gave him Canto Control 3, even, as a demote. Like, that would have been fire if they did that. But, because at this point, right, like, Canto Control is already on the way out, thanks to Sakura. So, they could have did us that one solid. But, damn, man, that's dope as hell. And also his... Look at that. How can you not like that? Little old school 80s T-Rex lizard popping out of the ground there. So let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below for this banner. This looks pretty interesting. Is this a must summon or anything like that? I don't know. Hold on. Let's quickly also take a look at the Twitter. Let's see if we can find the inheritances for the new passives. If they already posted them, that is. Okay, it looks like they did. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull this up real quick. Okay, so we have here Dragon Flame, which is inheritable, like I thought. It's only going to be for dragon types, as is the Echo skill, which, I mean, obviously Scowl skills are only for dragons anyway. Attack and Res Near Trace is for flying and cavalry types, and then Attack and Res Havoc is going to be for infantry and flyer only. Huh. Yeah, I was expecting that one to be a little bit more lenient than that, but infantry and flyer, huh? Okay, I mean, I guess we'll take it. It is like a nice variant of those debuffing B skills that we can go for, and it doesn't seem half bad. So, we'll definitely take that. Now, stick around because we do have a Fae channel to take a look at, so let's see what they have in store for us in that one.